Today is Sunday, Parashat Devarim, the fifth book of the Torah, the fifth and final book of the Torah. And this is actually a repetition, so to speak, of subjects that have happened earlier in the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu starts speaking on the first of Shevat until he passes away 5 weeks later on the 7th of Adar. That is the book of Devarim. Today is also the eve of Rosh Chodesh Av. The beginning of the month of Av will be tonight, Sunday night, and tomorrow, Monday. The first of Av is also the yahrzeit, the anniversary date of the passing of Aharon HaKohen. Aharon HaKohen, we're told in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot that we should be a disciple of Aharon HaKohen, and we try to emulate him. He was a person who loved peace, he pursued peace, he loved people, and he brought them closer to the Torah. And the beginning of the month of Av signals the 9 days that will culminate, so to speak, on the day of Tisha B'Av. And as we continue what we started on the 17th of Tammuz, mourning the destruction of the temple, in these 3 weeks we don't listen to music, we don't have weddings. Most communities don't have weddings during the 3 weeks. Some would permit it until Rosh Chodesh Av, and then from the Rosh Chodesh Av, which will be tonight and tomorrow actually, until Tisha B'Av, there are certain restrictions that become more serious, more strict. For instance, we're not allowed to drink wine, we're not allowed to eat meat, whether it's beef or chicken. Fish is allowed, and this is in commemoration of the calamities that took place on Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, and the days leading up to it. The idea of mourning the destruction of the temple, while it is something that is sad, and it's definitely a period in history that has known adversity to the Jewish people, we should still use this period from adversity to move into inspiration, to be inspired to correct our ways, to be inspired to do things better so we can merit the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Of course, the restriction of listening to music continues during the 9 days. There's no weddings. If there is a Sudat mitzvah, such as a Brit Milah or a Siyum Masechet, then yes, we're allowed to eat meat if that's part of the menu. It's not an obligation, but it will be permissible. Also, this idea of not eating meat, there are certain exceptions. A lady who just gave birth in the first month, maybe she needs some meat in terms of from a doctor's advice, or somebody who's weak and is advised to eat meat specifically. And then, of course, the mitzvah to safeguard the person's health would take precedence over the custom of not eating meat during this period. And in general, it's an idea that we find in halakha in general. When you have two contradictory situations, you take, of course, the more important, the more serious. If it's something from the Torah that we have a mitzvah to safeguard your health, and on the other hand, there is a custom of not eating meat, of course, the safeguarding of your health would take precedence if that's what would be indicated for that person. Now, what happens if you forgot that it's during the 9 days and you took a piece of meat and you made a bracha on it, and then you realized, what do? Again here, the grave sin of saying the name of Hashem in vain would take precedence over the custom of not eating meat. And therefore, since you say the bracha, you should taste a little bit of the meat, even though it's forbidden to eat it during this period, because we want to make sure that the name of Hashem is not pronounced in vain. That would take precedence and be more important than not eating meat. And there are many examples in halakha that way. When we're faced with situations where there are contradictory indications, you always have to think about the relative importance of things. And that goes everything in life. We weigh what is more important and what is less important, and we give the primacy and the precedence and the more importance to the one that is more important as compared to the other. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.